Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here is your weekly market report. Before we get into the local news, remember last week we talked about some of the things that are going on nationally as far as legislation. We threw out there to you guys a couple of deals that we asked for you to kind of check into, be your own judge. We mentioned two of the things. One of them was the OFF Act, the Opportunity for Fairness in Farming. Check that out. These are bills. These are being legislated, and we need to let our senators and representatives know how we feel about it. Okay, from the grassroots, from the boots on the ground. Another one we mentioned was EATS, E-A-T-S, EATS Act, which is very controversial. Some people are for it. It's California-based. Don't know still that much about it, other than maybe some things look good on the top like an iceberg, but then down underneath there's a lot of stuff that may not be. So check that one out. Josh Hawley from Missouri has introduced Protecting Interstate Commerce for Livestock Producers Act.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today, Mr. President, to talk about the challenges facing the cattle ranchers in my state and across the country. Challenges not just to their day-to-day operations, but to their very livelihoods. And I rise today to talk about what we can do about it. And I have a simple message. We can take action today that will work.
He read through the EATS Act and found out there's a lot of bad stuff in there. So he's saying, look, guys, this deal right here that I've come up with is good. There's not a lot of hidden things in it that are going to hurt you and hurt your commerce. It's good for producers, livestock producers. So check that out. Josh Hawley from Missouri. The board has still been like a roller coaster, and it's been very, very volatile. Futures have been up, they've been down. Cash has not moved near at the rate or levels as not as volatile as the Cattle Futures Board has been moving. So cash seems to be fairly steady, even though it's a little bit lower. Placements in the feedlots on the last cattle on feed report were a little bit higher than people had anticipated, but we're looking now into placements on the next USDA cattle on feed report being 5 to 10% lower. And if this is true on this next report, and then looking on into 2024 as numbers even become tighter, we do think that placements will be even lower on those cattle on feed reports, which may turn this market back around from its bearish nature to being more bullish. So there's still some optimism and hope that these prices will reach to the levels we thought they would have reached already by this time, but we'll have to wait and see on that. There's just been so much hammering on the board, and nobody even believes or trusts the numbers and what it's telling us as producers, as people in the business that sell and buy livestock and raise livestock. That futures board is a tool that we should be able to use as a hedge against the product that we're selling or we're buying, either way. And we think that the word was that the LRP insurance programs were selling so many of those policies that insurance companies, the people, money backers of these policies, were using the board and shorting the board for their position when they'd have to pay out on these insurance programs, which makes sense. And there were so many places shorts placed into the market that the algorithms, the big guys that are throwing all this hedge fund money into these futures, that it just kind of triggered that computer point where it just kind of went down.
Do you have any idea what you just did? You just bet against the American economy.
If you're wrong, you can lose it all.
Okay, here we go.
And it then went way down, and then it did come back and bounce back up a little bit. So right now it's just don't even pay attention to it, pretty much. Cash is still out there, maybe $1 or $2 cheaper on the fat cattle, but they're killing a lot more. Plants are running, they're not holding back, and the holidays are up here coming to us, and everybody's going to be wanting prime rib and these high-end cuts of meat. And word is too that it may even be a shortage of some of these prime ribs out there. There may not be enough to go around, so some of these high-end cuts are going to be pretty expensive. But packers are back making money. I think that's their plan all along, right? They're not into losing anything, and they're going to sell it just as high as they can and try to buy it from these feedlots just as low. And feedlots got a pretty good bit of cattle in them, and you know, when there's pressure on the market and they've got a pen of cattle that's ready to go, they're not going to sit there and pour more feed into them. They're not going to, you know, put more money into something that they're going to sell for a cheaper price. So they can't just sit on them. When the packers come with a lower bid, $1 or $2 lower, and these guys got their eyeballs up to cows in these feedlots, they're going to go ahead and sell them at a lower price. It'd be nice if we just kind of held on and just stuck to our guns and didn't sell anything and just made the packer come to you at your price, but that's not how it works too much. There's not enough cattle bought on a weekly basis at a negotiated cash price to get that done. A lot of these packers, probably 90% of most of the cattle are traded on a grid, on a formula, and it's not a negotiated price. So that's one of the problems that we're having, and it's still the big four, and they're probably still at that 80 or 85% level of all the cattle that are processed by the big four packers, which are foreign owned, a lot of them, China, Brazil. So there's some problems there. I want somebody to keep up with, and I don't know how you would track it, but I'd like to know, with some of these smaller regional packers and slaughterhouses coming in, mom and pop processing plants, and you know, places that may process only 20 or 30 animals a week or a day. I know there's a lot of these that are popping up, these grass-fed programs, these special niche programs. So maybe that 80% of all that processed meat from the big four might start dropping down to 70%. So somebody look that up, and let's kind of track that and see if that percentage changes any. We'll see, because I'm not sure about that one. As far as prices go here at Okeechobee, it was good. Calf prices were quoted $2 or $3 higher. Looked like it was good on the 6-weight calves. They haven't really hit that 240 mark too steady. It has a time or two, but a 6-weight steer calf this week would have brought right at $2.40, and that's really good. The 5-weight calves are holding their own and still selling up there around $260 to $265, maybe $270 on the very, very top front end of those 5-weight calves. And the 4-weight calves are around that $3 mark. We had L7 Ranch sold with us this week, as they do. Everything they raise on their ranch, they sell right through Okeechobee Livestock Market and have for years and years. But their little old calves averaged, I think, $350 on the steers, and they brought over $1,000. And the heifers weighed $320, $330, and they brought about $850. So that's good money on a little calf. So things are holding on pretty good. The only weak spot that I saw was probably on the slaughter cows. Looked to me like they were off a dollar or two, but still selling really good. The front end, big, good dressing slaughter cows are still bringing over $1. So that's some good news for the market right here. I know there's a lot of crazy things going on, and there's some volatility in the market, and my horses knocked down the fence around the barn this morning. I had to go fix it up, which didn't start the day out too good. But you know, things are all relative, and we just need to remember relativity, because there's a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff. We've all got things going on, and we're worried and concerned about the market and all, but when you boil it all down, it's there's a lot more bigger things going on. So let's remember people that are hurting or sick, and especially this time of year, where it's a time that we're giving and celebrating the birth of the Savior. And let's remember what this season is all about. And maybe this cattle market might not be the most important thing there is at this time. So we did have some high prices this week. Jet Thomas from the old reliable old Okeechobee Thomas family right here in Okeechobee. Jet, you topped the calf market with a 215-pound calf that brought $3.65. That calf was bought by Rush Creek. And on the slaughter cow side, Keith Whaley Sr., Whaley's from Osceola County. Keith, you topped the cow market with a 1,575-pound cow that brought $1.12. That cow was bought by Brown Packing. That's your market report. We'll see you next week. Thank you.